It's the last week in November, in fact, and this is Tuesday. Technically, it's almost a Wednesday. It's right on the threshold of midnight. And so tonight's film I decided to pick was Halloween 5. I really wasn't expecting it to be good, and it really wasn't that fantastic. But maybe it's a fitting film to see because, Halloween's on the 31st of October, and, this movie is named after an event that takes place on Halloween in the first Halloween movie. But anyways, I've seen the original Halloween, which is a classic, a great movie, great horror movie, and I've seen Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, and I heard that was like in that particular case, John Carpenter wanted to make each Halloween movie, if I'm correct on this, a different story altogether. Not Sans, would it be the right word? Not Michael Myers, something else entirely different. But I think in Halloween 2, they stuck to Michael Myers, and in Halloween 3, completely different story, which I saw and I didn't think it was that fantastic. In fact, a few years ago, I saw. I went to the Jacob Burns film marathon, and I've gone every year, and this is the 5th year I've gone. And this year they did Halloween 4, but a few years ago they did Halloween 3. And in both cases, the host of the program, he and 3 of his other friends who host this podcast called We Hate Movies, where they talk about bad movies. They don't hate movies. It's just that's the name of their podcast. And his name's Andrew Jupin, and it's called We Hate Movies, the podcast. And so they do this commentary while the film is running, doing a bad movie and talking, saying comments, and the audience laughs. And it's sort of like Riff Tracks, if you're familiar with that, in the multiplex. They do bad films with Riff Tracks. They did The Room. They did Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. They did Sharknado. I didn't see Sharknado, but that's another one that they did. Anyways, so this is Halloween 5. It's a continuation of Halloween 4. Pretty much the same cast of characters. The little girl, the stepmother, I guess, and of course Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers. And there's like things that don't make sense entirely, like why at the start of the film it's following the ending of Halloween 4, where Michael Myers is hanging onto the hood of a pickup truck that the protagonist in the previous film has been driving, and I think it's a graveyard, or maybe it's a mine, or I don't know what it is. Michael Myers falls into this big hole. Everybody thinks that he's dead, and then he appears again. And of course, everything takes place around Halloween time. And but anyways, this little girl that was in the previous film, she's supposed to be his how do I put this, niece, his step niece, or his niece, Michael Myers' niece. So she has this telekinetic power of seeing where Michael sees where he's going. And for some reason, she's put in this children's hospital, but there's not much explanation as to why she's in this hospital. I don't know. It just seems like she's screaming for no apparent reason, and Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, he's just saying these lines. He's just doing the usual, don't do this, do that, I know how to deal with Michael Myers because I've handled him, Well, he didn't say that, but, he says, you're doing the wrong thing to the cops. He says, you have no idea what you're doing, because he had him as a patient, as he says in the first Halloween movie. and there's the usual kills, and there's a Halloween party with like teenagers in it, and what can I say about this movie? Because there's not much I should say about it, because it's not, there's not much to it. I didn't find it that fantastic. Anyways, so the niece is in this children's hospital, and she's having these episodes where she's seeing in her mind what Michael is seeing in his eyes, and he's going about on his kill spree like usual. And let's see, for some reason Dr. Loomis knows where he's going to go next, and the police think they have it all figured out, and that they go to Michael Myers' old home, and Dr. Loomis, I think not, Dr. Loomis tells the niece to go there, the young girl. She goes there. I don't know why she's there. I don't know how Michael Myers knows to go there, and that the police leave when Michael Myers gets there. Only one cop is there. I don't know. It's just and something happens to Dr. Loomis that sort of begs for believability later on, very shortly after that, towards the end of the movie. Something happens to him which makes you think that it's over for him, and then all of a sudden he's back. So that's a little hard to stretch, to believe. Yeah, I don't know. She's just running around, this young girl. She's in this children's hospital. She goes down to the boiler room for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, and she does another thing. She goes to these doors in the hospital, and she tries twisting the knob and opening the door. And obviously they should open, but they have to close. They have to be locked. And obviously that doesn't make any sense at all. But for this film, and for being a horror movie, it's got to follow those conventions, even though they don't make any sense. Even if you could make them make sense, then it would be terrifying. But because there's no logical reason as to why they would be locked, it just seems stupid. Like she's going through a bunch of motions and begs for believability. And then she goes in the basement, and you think there's this that Michael Myers is going to corner her, and this janitor's down there, and one of the nurses comes down and takes it back to her room, and then there's a children's costume party too at another location, so Michael Myers. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but Michael Myers, he kills one person that makes people think he's somebody else, because oh, I know, somebody disguises himself like Michael Myers. He takes his mask off, and it turns out it's not him at all, but a decoy. And then he actually appears and then does his mayhem. So, but anyways, I don't really recommend this film. If you miss this film, you're not really missing much. If you're a die-hard Halloween fan, you probably have seen this film already, I would guess. Maybe it wasn't a terrible movie. Maybe it was slightly entertaining. But, Dr. Loomis's warnings and all this stuff. It seems how can I put it? Well, it seems just like he's going through a bunch of motions, just saying, don't do this, don't do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me, And anyways, what I mean by motions, he's saying like things aren't. He knows how Michael Myers operates. Of course, he does because he's a psychiatrist. But how can I put it? It just seems like it's to move the story forward. The things he says that might not be too logical, but just to make it a horror movie, they do these conventions, like the locked doors that shouldn't be locked, like the fact that telling the police to go to the house because Michael Myers is going to come, and then they leave and he knows Michael Myers is going to come. I don't know. Anyways, it's a big mess, I think, Halloween 5. You're not missing much, but if you're a diehard Halloween fan, you're going to love it, I guess. Well, are you going to love it? You'll be a cult. You're going to be, a completist and you'll see it. But anyways, that's my review. So I give this film probably, and I know I'm a little incoherent at the end there, but I was trying to explain it the best I could. But it's kind of a forgetful film to me. And so in that regards, it's not going, I wouldn't say, of course, at the end, Michael Myers is going to survive, if I have to say that. I think that's not a spoiler because doesn't he survive every movie? I haven't seen the new one, so I don't know the case there. But so I would give this film out of 5 stars, 5 being excellent, 1 being poor. I'd give it I give it 2.5, barely, marginally bad. It's kind of entertaining, with the kills and Loomis knowing where he is and the decoy Michael Myers. It's kind of interesting in that aspect. But it seems like, Mike Loomis is going through the motions. Why does this girl have telekinetic powers that only Michael Myers can share? What is the connection there? Why is there a connection? Why is there a bunch of victims of Michael Myers in the attic of the house towards the end of the film? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. This is the end of the Halloween marathon. So now let's talk about what comes up in the future. So Noirvember, I saw a lot of people doing Noirvember, and I guess I didn't catch in on the action. It's too late now, or almost too late. And I could do a Noirvember, well, not a Noirvember, but a noir month of films. And I got a suggestion for that on my channel. But I think the direction I'd like to take soon is to do, I did a ways back, probably a year or so ago, or maybe a few years ago, I did a video called Lesser Known Criterion Titles. And I did one for Asian films with 10 Asian movies called 10 Lesser Known Asian Criterion Titles. And I did an additional one because I forgot it with the other lesser known Criterion titles, which was about a La Notte by Michelangelo Antonioni, which is an Italian film. It's my favorite film of his, one of my favorite films of all time. And anyways, in that video, in those videos, I recommended films. The Criterion sale was going on at the time. I think it was the summer sale, and it was 50% off of Criterion's at Barnes & Noble. And so I thought, why not make a video about Criterions that are lesser known, like everybody knows Seven Samurai, Seventh Seal, Eight and a Half, Bicycle Thieves, Ikiru, Rashomon. Everybody knows those. But I thought, recommending lesser known Criterion titles. I'm trying to remember a few of them. I don't know if Umberto D was one of them. Knife in the Water, I think, was another. Maybe I suggested Viridiana by Buñuel. In any event, I thought, I mentioned this on the previous video. I'm having trouble uploading the previous video, which was day 30 of this Halloween marathon. And I was talking about why not show an area of the world that, you don't see a lot of films from, or they don't get exposed that much, or, places like Iran, or places like, I've only seen one film from Saudi Arabia. I don't know how prolific their country is with making films. For a while, it was illegal to watch movies in Saudi Arabia. You can only watch television. And when I cover places like that, places in Africa, places maybe in Southeast Asia, one of my streaming platforms is called Fandor, and they have films from countries like that on their radar, on their list of films to watch. And I thought, why not do that? Because, people, maybe, well, not maybe, but, maybe I'll do at some point, more well-known films, the American movies or European or Asian that are like Japanese. But, those might be more well-known in the general sense of collectors and just people that watch movies. And I thought, places like Iran really don't get the attention. And Iran has made a lot of great films. In fact, a horror film I saw at the Jacob Burns Film Center this year was the best one of the horror films I saw. I thought it was fantastic. The guy I went with, he thought it was fantastic too. He thought it was the best one we saw there when we were watching movies. And yes, so there's a great one called Baran, which is about a young girl who poses as a boy, doing, I think it's construction to get money for her family to survive. There's a good one called The Circle. It's all about women in Iran and all the bad things that happen to them because of the fact that they're women in this society. There's another film too in Iran. A Separation, about a woman that wants a divorce. But of course, in Iran, if you wanted a divorce, it has to be allowed by the man. And the woman wants to leave the country, the man wants to stay, and they have a daughter, and the daughter has to choose which one she wants to stay with, So those are really good movies. I highly recommend them. And I don't own it. Well, actually, I do own Baran, but it's on videotape. But anyways, I could find an outlet for watching all these movies, like Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, on a platform like Fandor. And they here and there they have them on Mubi as well, which is like 30 films per day. They take one off, they put another one on each day. So I'm going quite on. I'm going quite long-winded or whatever, and I think this is about the time I should shut the video off because I think I've gone on too long. Watch my GarageBand videos. I'm working on one right now, but I've got to get, obviously I'm on the iPhone again. That's because I've got to have my Mac taken a look at yet again because the storage is filled, even though I emptied all the files on my external hard drive. It says it's empty on the computer, but for some reason, it's just not complying. So I gotta go back and see what. It's probably easy, but I'm not a computer whiz, and Apple people will know exactly what to do. So, anyways, it's been fun doing this. It's been really. I discovered that I really do like watching horror movies. It's a nice way to spend, have fun and enjoy, different types of movies. I do feel inclined at this point to watch some films, regular movies that are not horror, like war films or action movies or psychological thrillers. I guess that sort of veers into horror in a way, but not really. Dramas, maybe a romance. I don't know. Animated movies, kids movies, old movies, classic movies, noir films. The whole gangster movies, foreign movies. Samurai films. I want to try and watch some other types of stuff now. Now because I've watched 31 movies, and Joe Bob Briggs, by the way, on Shudder. I know I'm going on long with this, but I have stuff to say, I guess. He did another special on Shudder, which is a streaming platform. In fact, it's the very streaming platform I watched Halloween 5 on. What was the film I watched previously to this one? What was the one I watched previously? I watched Halloween 5 today, and a few days ago I watched, or a day or so, 2 days ago, it was, I can't remember what the film was, Day 30. Kill List by Ben Wheatley. Yeah, so I've gone on long enough. Check out my blog, poolsofvisionsblogspot.com, POOLSOFVIIONS, blogspot.com. Anyways, this is Brian. Last day of horror movies, and hope you enjoyed the series. Leave comments if you want. And I'll hope to see you in the near future. I've enjoyed doing this, and I'll probably be doing some kind of, maybe another set of films. I think this Middle Eastern, African, Southeast Asian thing, I maybe might consider that. I might really think of doing that. So anyways, I won't keep you any longer. See you later. Bye.